Good afternoon, everybody. We have head coach Robert Saleh. We can begin with questions.
Recording in progress.
Robert, I was wondering if you could just kind of go over if there's anything that stood out additionally when you caught some of the film on the flight home.
Nothing that we didn't see live. Obviously, slow start, something that will get fixed. Just when we dig a hole and we come to life in the second half like we had most of the season, and it was just too little too late. Really thought we, looking back at that last drive by the defense, really thought we had some opportunities to get off the field and call me optimist, but if we get the ball back, I feel like we're going to score and win the game. But obviously, it didn't happen that way.
Robert, on the two touchdowns early in the game, the two tight end touchdowns by the Falcons, looked like JFM was in coverage on one. It looked like Bryce Huff was in coverage on another. Kind of unusual to have defensive ends in that spot. What led to that? What made you guys go with that coverage?
So the goal line defensive call was selling out for the run. First down, sell out for the run. They got us. Good for them. The second one, those zone pressures have been working for us all season. It's the first time that anyone's noticed that a DN's in coverage. Like I said, when it works, you're a genius. When it doesn't, you're an idiot. So.
Robert, just on the injury front, can you go down the injuries and also specifically address Marcus May and Jared Davis and the possibilities of them playing against New England?
So we're all the injury stuff going into the game is the same. No, there's no new injuries to talk about. But as far as Marcus May and Jared Davis, we're hopeful to get them back for New England. But obviously, we got to go through this bye weekend next week to see where they're at. So I'm not guaranteeing anything, but we'll have a good idea of where they're at starting next week.
Robert, do you plan on talking or discussing with Mike LaFleur anything that you guys can do or anything that he can do to try to jumpstart the offense for when you guys begin games?
Oh yeah, that's what we're spending this week on. Defensively, I mean, we could do a better job creating a 3-and-out to start the game. Offensively, we can do a better job keeping possession. Obviously, there's just it's complementary football. Just trying to find ways. I'm looking at scheduling, just try to find ways to give our guys an opportunity to start the game fast. So it's a lot of stuff that we're going to look at as coaches first, and see what we can do over this next week to try to change something up to see what we can go on at the start of games.
Robert, in relation to what you just talked about and what you'll be looking at the next week and a half or so, are there things, do you think, that Michael and you have to do to maybe simplify things for Zach at all? I know Zach keeps saying the plays are there, I got to make the throws. He's very accountable, but I'm just wondering if there's stuff that you're looking at right now to simplify things a little bit for him.
You're always looking at ways to try to simplify it for him, but at the same time, the thing that you're not going to be able to help him with is the speed of the game and the change and the change in schemes that he's going to see every week. And those are just things he's got to get better at, and it's going to take reps to do it. It's not easy being a rookie quarterback. It never will be. It never has, never will be. If you look at, I'll just throw a guy out there, Josh Allen, who everyone wanted to throw away after his first 2 years. His first 5 games of his rookie year are damn near identical to what our young kid's going through. So he's going to get better. He's got tremendous arm talent. He goes through things the right way. And I know it can be frustrating sometimes when we're looking at some of these things. It's like, God, he should be making these throws, but it's going to start clicking. And, like I said, it's a roller coaster ride. You're going to take the good with the good, the bad with the bad, and but find ways to get better, and you will.
Speaking of
Robert, it's key. Go ahead, Mark.
Just as a quick follow, just offensive related, Elijah, the entire training camp looked like a guy that didn't do anything wrong, to the naked eye. I mean, he just had such an amazing summer. Hasn't really translated in the regular season. What are you seeing there? Obviously there's transitions for him to make, to the pro game as well. But I'm just kind of wondering, what are you seeing there from the summer till now?
It's the same thing. There's transition for Elijah that he's going to go through. But when you're limited in plays, you get off to a slow start, you fall behind, you're limited in plays, and I think we had like 45 plays before our 2-minute warning. So you're trying to run the ball, you're trying to get CD involved, you're trying to get Crowder involved, you're trying to get Elijah more involved. You're trying to get people involved, and there's only so many plays to go around. And by the time it's the fourth quarter, it's just go through progression, try to get people the ball, and try to throw and try to catch up or whatever it might be, whatever the situation might call for. So, one, it's about complementary football in terms of having possessions early, get plays early, and then from there it's distributing the ball around and trust that within the offense your opportunity will come based on the calls that are made.
Robert, it's Kim Jones. You've mentioned slow start a couple of times. I'm just curious. I'm assuming that you guys script plays like every team in the league. To not score a point yet in the first quarter, does that tell you something about even that process maybe needs to be fine-tuned?
Again, we'll look at all of it, Kim. It's a collective thing. Sometimes the scripted call might not be worth a damn. Sometimes the execution isn't there. Sometimes it's just really good play by the other side of the ball. But obviously we're going to look at everything and do our best to try to make it a little bit better coming out of this bye week. And they're going to study the tape, study what they're asking of the players, and then at the same time just find ways to get our guys ready to roll to start the game.
Robert, you mentioned Jared Davis potentially coming back. I mean, throughout camp, he was the guy next to CJ, and those two were your two or your three starting linebackers. Quincy Williams, though, has been playing some pretty good football and seems to keep getting better. So when Jared comes back, is it the assumption that he just regains his starting job, or is now suddenly there the possibility that he's not the starter and Quincy is, or there will be a rotation?
We'll see where Jared is. The guy obviously hasn't played in over a month and a half, so we'll see where he's at. But Jared Davis is a phenomenal football player, and when he's healthy, he is a starter in this league. He's a first-round pick. He showed very well in OTAs and in training camp. He showed every reason why he was a first round pick. So not to push him into the starting lineup, but when he's ready to go and he's full speed, he's going to get full game reps.
Robert, what's your plan for this week for the players and for the coaches, and just kind of how did you come up with it? Is it something you're taking from places you've been before? Is it influenced by the youth of your team at all? Just kind of how are you approaching this week?
So the CBA kind of dictates your week for you. You've got to give them 4 consecutive days off, including the weekend. So it's almost mandatory that you give Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday off. Today, because of the long trip, just gave them off, just go reset. They can come in, get some regen. Tomorrow will kind of be what today normally is. And then on Wednesday, just come in and get a really good heavy lift and workout and run in, try to simulate a Wednesday practice the best we can, and then get them out of here. So it's just trying to make sure that we keep the ball rolling with regards to our conditioning, our feet, our overall conditioning. So we're not going a full week. The old saying that 7 days without the weight room makes 1 week, WEAK. And so we just want to make sure that we just shorten that gap as much as possible.
What's your opinion of the Quincy Williams roughing now that you've looked at it?
We'll turn it in. Still disagree with it, but it's we're eventually going to get to the point where we're going to earn the benefit of the doubt in those plays. But right now, that's an uphill battle that we're trying to win.
Robert, what was your reaction to Makai's tweet regarding Mims? Obviously, during the game, I think it was Unleash Mims or something like that. Obviously, we've all talked about him a lot, and just kind of curious what your reaction was to that.
I just heard of it about 15 minutes ago, and what I'd tell you is that Makai's heart's always in the right place. He's got a great relationship with Mimsy, as we all do. Mimsy did a really nice job in the game. He's done a really nice job over the last couple of weeks, and for him, I don't think it's a malicious tweet towards his teammate, although people can look at it that way. I think Makai's heart is in the right place, and he just wants to see his teammates all do well. And when you're a young man in social media, I don't think when you tweet, you understand the ramifications of what other people might look at it as. And I can tell you, knowing Makai, he absolutely loves his teammates, and that's a situation where Mimsy gets a big play and he's just ruined his teammate out.
Robert, is there a chance over this bye week that you guys either find a way to rectify things with Mims or find some kind of a role for this guy who, I know it's a very, very small sample size, but has had a couple of big plays for you.
For sure. I don't, Kim, I don't know if there's anything to rectify in the sense that the relationship is good. We love Mims. He's a tremendous character kid, and he's been working his tail off. And it's the same thing. He got out there. He had some opportunities yesterday. He was fantastic in the run game, created an explosive play on a really good play with it was just a really good play overall, just with quarterback play, O-line protecting, him working and running his route the way he did. And obviously there's, just like everyone else, there's going to be stuff that he can clean up, but he is earning his reps, and he'll continue to do so. As he continues to do so, he'll get more opportunities.
Most of Elijah Moore's production in college came from the slot. Do you think maybe he's struggling with different coverage types, different leverages that he's facing now that he's playing mostly on the outside?
No, it's and obviously that is a good discussion, but then you got Jamison Crowder, who's a seasoned vet in the slot. You got Berrios, who's been a seasoned vet in the slot. And, obviously with Moore, you're trying to get your best players on the football field. And, there were some calls that were designed for him yesterday, but, coverage dictates where the ball goes. And, we just missed on some opportunities. He had he drew the pass interference, which was a huge play in the game, got us down to the 2-yard line. He had a couple of other big shots designed for him. But like I said, the coverage dictated the ball going somewhere else. So, trying to get him, he's got opportunities. Opportunities are trying to be created for him. Obviously, the coverage dictates a lot of that too. So,
Robert, when you first drafted Elijah, when you drafted Elijah, and we were talking to you about him and the impact he can make, you talked a lot about just getting him the ball, not necessarily having him run typical receiver routes, but the jet sweeps and the receiver sweeps and screens, and just finding a way to get him the ball and get him the ball in space. We haven't seen too much of that this year when he's been active. Is that something you'd like to explore more when you come out of the bye, is just getting him the ball and seeing what he can't do?
Yeah, we got him the jet sweep, and Denver got the concussion off it, so he missed the game. And then you get, like I said, when you're getting 50 to 55 snaps a game, and a lot of them are in catch-up mode, the opportunities to create all those the chances to create those opportunities are very limited. So this is we can talk about running the ball, we can talk about getting him plays, we can talk about Corey and Crowder. There's a lot of guys who would love to touch the football, but it's really hard to touch the football when we're not getting plays, we're not converting third downs, and we're not staying on the football field. And on the flip side, defensively, getting off the field, creating some 3-and-outs, getting the ball to our offense as quickly as possible. So this is a collective thing, and there's always going to be a player who wants more of the ball, but there's one ball, limited plays. How do you get them all involved? And we can start by having a 70-play game.
Robert, as you step into this next week, of kind of self-scouting and whatnot with your coaches, what would you say are your one or two just your greatest concerns out of these first 5 weeks that you need to look into as you move forward here?
There's I don't know if concern is the word, Mark. You look at I just think we got to find ways to get better. We're an extremely young team. Yesterday, just speaking from the defensive side of the ball, we're playing our just a veteran quarterback who is precise, tremendous decision maker, and it just goes to show how much you have to be on your details, especially in zone coverage, where he is plant, throw, and just rips the ball where it needs to go. And when he does make a mistake, which I feel like Matt Ryan made about 3 mistakes in the game that we needed to make him pay on, and we just missed. It's that step that I was talking about on Friday, where we're just, when are we going to find that step? So for us as a staff is continuing to find ways to keep it simple, keep them in their home base with regards to technique, fundamentals, effort, and all the different things that we talk about. Keep teaching the 501 aspect of football, and see if between when we get back in the end of the season, we can find those steps and we can start getting our hands on the ball. And then on the offensive side of the ball, it's the same thing. It's, can we start a little bit faster, because we're improving everywhere. And I know it doesn't quite look like it. It's just, we're not in the first half launching. Once that starts to happen, we feel like it'll be pretty good to see.
Robert,
what has Rob Calabrese brought to that quarterback room, and what can he do with Zach right now to help him?
I like the dynamic of the quarterback room. Rob Calabrese is a young man who's obviously he's very well schooled. He's got great beat on with regards to technique, throwing motions, all the different things that are asked from a fundamental standpoint with regards to the quarterback. He understands scheme, footwork, all of it. You've got Kavanaugh, who brings us a wealth of experience to that room, and just the experiences and dealing with phenomenal quarterbacks and understanding the game and all the different things that happen. And obviously with LaFleur, when it comes to scheme and putting the quarterback and making, designing the entire game plan around the quarterback and just to help him so his eyes are always flowing in the right spots. But, so the dynamic, the room as a whole, the dynamic that it has, you've got veteran, you've got youth, you've got obviously Mike as the coordinator, and then the quarterbacks itself. We have Mike White, Josh Johnson, who are also phenomenal. So, I really like the way the quarterback room is set up, and we just got to continue to work and find ways to get better.
Robert, from a mental standpoint with Zach, we've talked about how much of a studier he is. At this point, is there a balance between, going into the bye, wanting him to kind of, take a break mentally but even though he has a lot to work on, how do you approach that aspect of it? Because, his head's probably spinning right now too.
No, it's during the week too. It's dude, go home. Enough is enough. But there's always going to be a balance, and he's going to find it. He's got to find his way. He's got to find his routine. He's got to find a way. His study habits. He's got to understand how to filter what he's seeing on tape. Take what's important versus what's not, and just trust the game plan, trust the reps, let it rip, and just like he does in the second half. Perfect example in the first half, the interception he had in the first half. You could see, if you look at it, his footwork is just a little bit off, and he throws behind. We call it a bench route, and he throws behind him, which you never want to do on a bench route, and it's intercepted. Fast forward to I think it was the fourth quarter. It's the same route to Keelan. If you guys remember it was explosive. He absolutely rips the ball, and it's perfectly thrown exactly where it needs to be. So how can you get your process in the first quarter? I mean, this is just, again, it is reps, and he's going to get there. And there's days where we're going to see it, and there's days where we're not. But eventually, it's going to be very consistent.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Coach. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Recording stopped.